Hey everybody. So, a few of you have asked me now about my thoughts on Incredibles 2, and I thought it might be fun to do a fun little casual review type thing with you right now before I get back to this channel's normal, scheduled content. I'm not sure if I'm gonna disappoint you with this, but I just thought Incredibles 2 was so bad and not up to Pixar standards at all. I mean, don't get me wrong, there were things I enjoyed about the movie. Some of the action scenes are good, and the scene with Edna where she bonds with Jack-Jack was funny and cute. You know, the movie has a bunch of neat stuff, and I'm not trying to take that away. But when I started to look at The Incredibles 2 as a cohesive film, one that wanted to take up 118 minutes of time that I could have spent with my daughter, it just didn't hold together very well. By the way, I don't have a daughter, but I just think that joke's, so funny, because it implies that I just left her at home. Like, see you later, sweetie. Off to see a movie made for kids. Have fun with the sitter. Anyway, there are 3 problems I have with The Incredibles 2, and I'm gonna say them now, and you're going to agree with me. Problem number 1. This movie is basically a rehash of the first Incredibles in every possible way. Now, this is the least important of my 3 very important criticisms, because it is possible for a movie to be good even when it doesn't, say something new or especially interesting. But the absurd lengths that the second Incredibles went to be exactly like the first just felt weird and kinda sad. At the end of the first movie, our heroes come out of the shadows and they save the day, and it's implied that superheroes will be legalized now, that they're okay, that society is okay with them. And I think maybe that would have made for an interesting movie. What happens then, you know? But nope. Apparently the second after the first Incredibles ended, the family did something that the American people disagreed with, and so now they're just in hiding again. Mr. Incredible is sad about it again, and Elastigirl, again, is like, what are we gonna do about it? The law is the law. During the first movie, the kids really help out in saving the day, and it's implied that the family's gonna be a little more equitable about superhero stuff, and that Dash and Violet will be allowed to help out. But nope, in the second movie, the kids gotta stay home again. There's a great scene where Violet is talking to her mom, and she's like, you said on the island that things would be different. And then Mrs. Incredible is like, that was on the island. You can't fight evil here. And on one hand, I think that makes sense. I mean, why put your kids into unnecessary danger? But on the other hand, I kind of thought we'd already been over this and decided that the kids would be allowed to help out. At the end of Incredibles 2, the parents decide to let their kids be superheroes, which, coincidentally, is also the end of Incredibles 1. It's the same ending. The same thing happens. At the end of Incredibles 1, Violet summons up the courage to get a date with Tony, a teenager who bears a striking resemblance to Dean from The Iron Giant. But at the beginning of the second movie, whoops! Tony's memories are erased! Violet's gotta get that date again! And I get that they do different stuff with this plot in The Incredibles 2, but I just don't understand why they had to reset everything in the first place. Couldn't those 2 crazy kids just go on a date? Isn't that the more natural and fun place for the story to go? Even the premises of the 2 movies are weirdly similar. They both involve a capitalist who comes in and swells the protagonist's ego, but then it turns out the capitalist is a bad guy, and they hate superheroes for some reason. Is the point of Incredibles 2 that we all live in purgatories of our own design, where progress is impossible and we're all destined to make the same mistakes over and over again? If so, that's kind of cool actually, and I demand they make a third Incredibles where right after the end of the second, Dash juggles uncomfortably well and a passerby walks by and he's like, I don't enjoy that, ban the superheroes. And they all go into hiding again, and Elastigirl's like, what are we to do? The law is the law. Problem number 2. The villain in this movie blatantly makes no sense at all. Okay, imagine there's a Batman movie where Batman wants to get rid of all crime, but there is no crime left. So what he does is he finds a burgeoning criminal enterprise, and he gives them a few wins, helps them pull off a few heists, but then he destroys them to prove to the world that they don't need crime. See, that movie would make no sense at all. Why would he do such a thing? His goals have already been met. And this pitch I just threw at you guys, that's what Incredibles 2 is actually about. At the beginning of the film, superheroes are as illegal as they've ever been, right? So, what is Evelyn Dever, the main antagonist, fighting against? At one point, she's like, we depend on superheroes so that we don't have to take responsibility for our own lives. But that's not true at all, is it? The society in this movie hasn't had superheroes for like 15 years. They obviously don't depend on them, metaphorically or literally. So, why does Evelyn have to concoct this huge, dramatic plan? Like, chill out, Evelyn. Everybody already agrees with you. You can only hurt your case at this point, Evelyn. So, that's my second issue with The Incredibles 2. And it's not as long as my other two reasons, I'll give you that. But I think it's really important because it makes the entire movie feel weird and unearned, and it didn't have to be that way. Maybe superheroes could have been legal, and Dever wanted to make them illegal again. Maybe the villain didn't have to be a weird capitalist inventor again. I don't know. Make a new movie. Okay, on to problem number 3. And just so you know, this one's a doozy. It's gonna sound kind of mean, but just bear with me. Nothing in this movie goes anywhere, and there are a million plots and themes that go totally unexplored. Let me make a sub-list here so that I can show you what I mean. Number 1. The Devers choose Elastigirl to be the champion of superhero rights because she causes less collateral damage than Mr. Incredible does. And that could have been pretty cool, I think. A bit like Hitchcock, the classic Will Smith vehicle. But after introducing the idea that Elastigirl is the more efficient superhero, and having Evelyn talk about it just incessantly, like 4 times, the movie does nothing with it. The idea just doesn't come up again after a certain point. They just sort of leave it there in the second act to gather dust. Number 2. In order to increase superhero accountability, Evelyn has Elastigirl wear a body cam. When this happened, my eyes kinda perked up. Like, having figures of authority wear body cams it's kind of a hot button issue right now, and I was pretty curious to see where they would take it. But honestly, it just disappointed me on every level. First off, they make almost no use of them at all. We never cut to various citizens watching Elastigirl stream and judging it, and we never really deal with the implications of what a body cam is. But more than that, what are they even saying about body cams in this movie? In the last act, Violet gives her mom her old, uncammed costume, and Elastigirl's like, good, yes, now I'm liberated to save the day. And, it makes sense in that moment that Elastigirl was psyched to get rid of the body cam. I mean, it was the thing Evelyn was using to track her. But nobody brings them up after that. Their presence is so underdeveloped that it kind of feels like the movie's saying, like, yes, get rid of body cams. Which... Number 3. The baby monitor that Mr. Incredible gets to regulate Jack Jack's powers. Remember that? What did that do? Edna makes a huge deal out of it. The family has it for a while. They use it to make, 2 jokes, and then it gets broken. Why was it there? That's the entire story of Jack Jack's baby monitor. Why was it there? Number 4. Throughout the movie, there's this running gag / plot point where Violet and Dash keep trying to dump Jack Jack on each other so they can go out and do some fighting. But in one of the final scenes, Violet gives a big dumb speech where she's like, Dad, I'll hold the baby because I can protect the baby with my shields. Was this something that the movie built up to in any way and I just missed it? 15 minutes ago, Violet was trying to dump Jack Jack on Dash. But now she's not, and she's taking responsibility. Did something change? Did she learn something? Did she learn something about Jack Jack? There are a few more things I could add to this list, but I think you get my point. The movie is just plain messy. It didn't feel like it wanted any of its themes or plots or images to culminate in a substantial way. The creators just shoved so many things into it. Basically everything besides, a original plot, or villains that made sense. Wow, hearing myself say that was really harsh. And I wanted to like this movie too. A few months ago, I released a video where I talked about how I didn't like Pixar sequels, and I'm sure that right now you're thinking that I'm just saying this because of my anti-Pixar sequel bias. But it's not like I went into the theater feeling like I didn't want to see a good movie. That's just what happened, Okay, that was it. I hope you liked this one because it was really a blast to write. I mean, I love a good video essay, but things like this are really fun for me too. And if you liked it, then go ahead and leave a comment, and I'll know to make more things like this sometimes. Cool. Okay, just one random nitpick that I couldn't find anywhere to put in this video. At one point, Screenslaver is like, society doesn't play games anymore. It just watches game shows. And I have literally no idea what she was talking about there. Games have been rising in popularity for the last 30 years. And ever since Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, game shows have been declining in popularity. So, chew on that, I guess. And I'll see you next time.